welcome to Stash Chats. My name is Yvette and I am the co-founder of the Stash Hub Sewing Organiser app, which I run with my husband Doug. And as part of the business, I'm really fortunate that I get to do Stash Chats where I talk to a different member of the sewing community every week to hear about their sewing journey, how they got into sewing, what they're up to now, and of course their stash. So it's really good fun and I love doing them live as well because you guys get the chance to join in. So please do pop into the live chat if you're able to join us live. And if you're not able to join us live but you're watching us on catch up, pop into the comments and give us a little like as well. Let us know what you thought of this episode and hopefully you find it really interesting. So today's guest is going to be Eleanor, who is one of the Surrey Sews organisers. So I'm going to introduce you to her in a minute, and I can see we've got some other Surrey Sews members in the chat already. So hopefully they can help keep us on the straight and narrow with all the information that we're going to be sharing with you a bit later on. But yeah, I'm going to try mixing up the chat intros a bit at the moment just to keep it fresh. So this time, kick off the chat by letting us know if you've been to any in-person social sewing events and what you thought of them. So anything like a Frock Tales event or a party at a sewing shop, that sort of thing. So I'd love to know what you guys have attended in the past. And the reason that I ask that is because today's guest, Eleanor, is hosting SewFizzTeaCated, which is the Sewists afternoon tea event. So that's hosted in Surrey in the UK. And it was run for the first time last year and it was a really, really good fun. So we're going to tell you all about that a bit later on in our chat. But yeah, let us know what other events you've been to and what your favourite things were about those events. So let's just say hi to a few people in the chat. So Jan went to a sewing weekend at Beyond the Pink Door. That sounds really fun. That was when Beyond the Pink Door were in Ireland. So they've moved to England now. Mel is here and Angie's here. They're both fellow Surrey Sews members. So I'm also a member of Surrey Sews. So I do know today's guest quite well. So that's going to be really good fun. And I can see Natalie's here as well. So hello, Natalie. Thanks for joining us. And yeah, anyone else who's watching live, please do pop into the chat. And if you've got any questions, I'll weave them into the conversation as well. Just a quick little bit of Stash Hub news update whilst we wait for a couple more people to join. We have put all of the June sewing challenges into the challenges section of Stash Hub now. So do go and have a look at that. And there'll be a blog post coming soon and a roundup to your email inbox coming this week as well, hopefully. So yeah, hope you're all feeling inspired to sew. And there's also, you know, a few different challenges and prizes and bits of motivation to help you along the way. And otherwise, we're going to hopefully be bringing the magic mock-up update into the app really, really soon. So stay tuned for that. Doug's been working really hard on that after you all requested it. And the last piece of Stash Hub news is that it's going to be the Stash Hub Zoom social on Monday, which I believe is the 9th of June at 7 p.m. UK time. So I've popped the link in the description of this video on YouTube so you can add that to your calendar and hopefully join us on Monday for a chat. Right, let's get into it. So Angie said that she was at SewFizz last year and I loved it, but I'm biased because I helped organise it. So yeah, obviously you organised it so that it was all your favourite things, Angie. That's, I mean, if you went to an event and organised it and you didn't love it, then you must have done something wrong, right? So yeah, that is good to know. And I'm sure this year's Frock Tales will be even bigger and even better. So yeah, the just mentioned the description, so there are details for how to get your SewFizzTeaCated ticket. So if you can't wait to hear more about it and you want to check out the details and get your ticket now, do pop into the comments. Natalie says that she's never been to a social in-person event, so hopefully this chat will convince you to find one local to you and we can, yeah, get you inspired to snap up your tickets to a future event. Right, that's enough of my waffling. Let's get chatting to Eleanor. So Eleanor is a long-term sewist, so she's got a really big stash to go with that. So I'm excited to see some of the gems from Eleanor's stash. She's also really tall, so if there's any tall sewists watching that need a few hints about how to sew if you are tall, do pop them in the questions for Eleanor. She also does loads of amazing things like volunteering, so she can talk to us a bit about that as well. And of course, organising SewFizzTeaCated. So yeah, loads of stuff to talk to Eleanor about today. So let's get her on. Hi, Eleanor.
Hi, Vet.
Welcome to Stash Chats. It's really great to have you on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
So yeah, how are you doing today?
Oh, fine. Yes, haven't done any sewing today, sadly, but
you've been really busy with the SewFizzTeaCated organising.
Not too bad today. We've sold quite a lot of tickets so far, so it's all ticking along nicely. I'll tell you a bit about that later, I guess.
Yep. Mel says there's only about 40 tickets left now. So...
Oh no, only 30.
Oh, 30 left now, 30. Mel.
We're up to 70 out of 100.
Oh wow! So yeah, hopefully by the end of this episode, we'll be almost sold out.
Fingers crossed.
So, do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Eleanor? How did you get started on sewing?
I learned to sew, I think, with my granny when I was about 9 or 10. She taught me to knit and sew, but she was always a bigger knitter, so then I did a lot of knitting for years, and then when I was a student I gave it all up, so I was busy, and, you know, out socialising and whatnot. And then later on, once I had my first daughter, who's now, 19? When she was about 2, I decided with a friend that we wanted to learn to make nice little clothes for our daughters. My friend had a daughter the same age, and we put them into nursery one afternoon a week, and we went to a sewing class nearby and learned to sew. My friend doesn't sew anymore, but I've never stopped, and I made lots of nice baby things and little doll outfits and dresses and whatnot. And then I had another daughter and made her more. And then made them lots of costumes and just never really stopped. Now I'm more sewing for myself because they're 16 and 19, and, you know, they'd rather go shopping in town with their friends than have mum make them cute little dresses anymore.
They still put in orders occasionally, though.
Oh, they do, yes. They do have a tendency. And I know I've mentioned this to Mel that's on, because I see her every week. They wander around my room and touch things. Oh, this is nice. This feels soft. Can you make me such and such? And of course, it's invariably something I had my heart set on. But they invariably get those things. And my next project, I think, is actually for my oldest daughter. She's just finishing her first year at uni in London, and her and her friend have moved into a flat together. And I got a request today, do you think you could maybe make us some cushions? So I'll be doing a little Zoom tomorrow with fabric to show them so that they can pick their cushions, and I'll whip them up over the weekend.
That's cute. You've suddenly become an interior designer as well.
Pretty much, And I'm like, how many cushions are we talking about? And they're like, well, we want 4 for each sofa. We want some for our beds. And I'm like, oh my word. So, bit of a sweatshop here at the weekend, I think.
That's funny. Can you remember the most extravagant costume that you've ever had to make?
Well, it wasn't for one of my daughters. We lived in Canada for 10 years. From the girls were 2 and 5, well, almost 10 years. And the school they went to there was very big into performing arts and very community-based. The parents were very involved, and I was in charge of all the costumes for all the productions. And probably my most elaborate was the Sea Witch in The Little Mermaid.
Oh wow! Did you have to make all the tentacles?
I made 6 or 8 big tentacles from black stretch PVC, and I had to stuff them all, and a big costume and all sorts of weird and wonderful things, and then all the sea creatures that went along with it. So more, I guess, construction than actual dressmaking. So that was probably the most elaborate. And then my oldest daughter was into Highland dancing when we lived in Canada. So again, the mums ran the group that she was in, and we had to make little kilts and little costumes and things like that. I think the most probably pesky job I ever had to do was blind hem 27 kilts by hand.
Oh gosh.
Never again. Never again.
Oh, amazing. So we've got a couple more people just join the chat. We've got someone joining us from Saudi Arabia. That's amazing.
wow.
Thanks for joining. And Maria says, I don't think I've been to a sewing social apart from a quilting retreat. So you're going to come to SewFizzTeaCated this year, Maria?
Oh, it's not our Maria from Surrey Sews. There's another Maria out there.
There's room for all the Marias. And Natalie says, with your home decor, just don't get put up to doing net curtains.
Oh God, no. Luckily, their flat does not require curtains. It's got those white shutters, so I was quite glad when I saw that. Because my oldest daughter's quite particular about her style, and I thought, oh no, I'm not making curtains for these big long windows, but I don't have to do that.
Oh, it is Surrey Sews, Maria, but she can't come because she'll be in Japan.
She's in Japan shopping in that big giant shop in Tokyo with the 5 floors of fabric.
We'll do a call to you during the event and put our orders in.
Yeah, get her to go live in there that week.
Hopefully you'll bring an extra suitcase in that case.
Oh, I know. That would be lovely. I might be in the suitcase with her if it wasn't for SewFizzTeaCated.
So do you want to tell us a bit about your stash, Eleanor?
I should probably look at my stash chat hub, but I'm using my phone so I can't see it. I think I've probably got maybe nearly 300 metres of fabric. I did get rid of quite a lot at the Surrey Sews swap in November. I got rid of about 80. So I brought it down. I'm probably closer to 250 just now. I'm not good at getting rid of fabric. I do admit that. I'm good at buying fabric, as anybody that knows me will attest to. I'm not somebody that has always got a plan for what they're buying. I just tend to like the fabric, and then I think about what I'm going to make it into later. I think I may have a slight addiction to buying fabric, but invariably at some point will get made up. Or I give it to people, or I gift a lot of stuff, or make them. I do a lot of charity sewing, so I do use up a lot of fabric for various different things. For a while I tended to sew a lot more stretch fabric, particularly when I lived in Canada, because it's cold there a lot. And when the girls were a bit younger, they liked leggings and hoodies and t-shirts and all that, swimsuits. So I made a lot of that. But since I've started making for myself more, I probably do a mix. In the summer, I do more wovens. And in the winter, I maybe do some more knits. So I have all sorts of fabric.
And do you have like a favorite like design of fabric? Like, what's your fabric weakness?
It's probably similar to yours. This shade of blue, what is it, cobalt, which is the same as yours, I believe. And actually, I just cut out another top today and another one. Nice. Another blue from Bernella. And I tend to I don't wear a lot of plain. I'll maybe wear plain trousers, but I'll always have a pattern. You've probably never seen me with a plain top.
Like a fully plain outfit. No, I can't even comprehend that idea.
No, the same with you. I don't think I've ever seen you in one. I would always have either a pattern dress or a pattern top and plain trousers. And I tend to like big designs. I don't really do ditzy. They're cute and everything. They're just not for me. I'll show you my newest fabric. And it's very
gorgeous.
So the new one from Bernella. It's an Australian designer that Tanya's the lady who owns Bernella, saw online and thought it was really cool, so she got it in, and it's just really bold and colourful and cheerful. So I tend to like things like that, and just things with unusual designs. I might ask for some hints on a few that I've got recently that I'm not sure what to make them into.
Nice. Get your pattern collections at the ready live chat then for
Oh
giving
yeah,
Eleanor some suggestions.
I need some inspiration. So again, I said earlier, I tend to buy fabric because I think it's lovely, and then I'm like, oh, I don't know what to make with it. And then if you've paid quite a lot of money for it, you don't want to just make something you're not 100% about. So some inspiration for a few that I can. Do you want me to do that just now?
Yeah. Let's go for it.
Okay, but I think some of the males probably saw this one, and if there's some ladies from the virtual sewing room on, they've seen it. Hold on. This one.
Gorgeous. So this is like dragons.
It's got dragons and suns and birds. It's quite a big design. It's the background's navy, and it's a quite lightweight, silky sateen. It's from Sister Mintaka. I got it at the Stitch Festival, but I'm just torn what to make with it because it's got such a big design. I want something that shows it off. So if anybody's got any ideas, that would be wonderful. I'm torn what to make with my new Bernella fabric as well. It's a sateen, but it's a wee bit, it's not a heavy, it's a medium weight, I would say, but it's nice and soft.
That's a cotton, that one, isn't it?
Well, a cotton sateen, it feels like a cotton weight, but it's got a bit of silkiness to it.
Nice.
And then the other one, again, another Sister Mint, I did buy quite a lot at Sister Mintaka at the Stitch Festival. This one here is another big one. See, it's all like Grecian.
Love that one.
And of course, I mean, it's your colours as well, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got that fabric as well. We'll be twinning again.
I know. Again, big design. I keep looking at patterns, thinking, oh no, you wouldn't see it properly. You know, if they're too much fuss, it wouldn't look right. So yeah, if people have got some ideas for those ones, that would be fantastic.
And Natalie says maybe a wrap dress for that first fabric with the dragons.
Yeah, but you wouldn't see the dragon on the bodice. I do wear a lot of wrap dresses, and I had thought about that, but I think it's quite big, the dragon. It must be about 1.5 feet, about 18 inches. So I don't know, I would see it on the top, see it on the skirt, but not on the top. So yeah, I do like a wrap dress.
Well, Cheryl
so yeah,
says,
any ideas for those would be good.
Cheryl suggests the Hope dress, which I think is a style arc pattern.
Hope. Oh, I've heard of it. I've never used a style arc, but I'll note that down. I've been thinking about a fibre mood one that I sent off for. It's just a way getting printed, called the Amelia. It's a sort of flowy dress with sort of big sleeves, and it's got a bow.
Nice.
I'm not sure. I'm just worried I'll cut into it and then I'll be like, no, I shouldn't have made that. But I think it'll probably look good whatever I make it into.
Yeah. Yeah, Natalie says the Roscoe blouse by True Bias is her fail safe because it's got the front is just like flat, so it's not got a seam up the centre front, so that doesn't break up.
No, I know. I know that one. You wear that quite a lot, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I've got a few Roscoes. Mel says just go for the full-on Traitor's cape. just wear the fabric as it is and swish about.
Oh no, I've actually got wool fabric to make a cape for the winter, but I got it at Fabric Godmother, so that is on the list for after the summer. I rotate my fabric. I clear it, put it away for the winter stuff in the summer, and bring out my summer fabric because I have too much fabric.
Nice. So do you put it like in the loft or something?
Yeah, and there might be drawers under one of the beds in the house that nobody else knows about.
Oh, this leads on quite well to Mel's question,
no.
which is, do you know what's in your stash, or when you do the big sort out, do you come across things you've forgotten about?
I think since I got Stash Hub last year, not so much. But certainly when I was doing the putting everything into Stash Hub, I was like, oh my God, where did all this come from? And, you know, when did I buy that? Where did I buy it? And a lot of it I couldn't remember when I was filling in all the info. But I think now that I've got probably 90% of my stash in the app.
Oh, I've lost you there, Eleanor. Hopefully your internet hasn't gone down. Hopefully mine is okay. Oh, sorry, I lost you for a second there. Can you hear me, Eleanor? Can you hear me, Eleanor? Lost you for a bit. Am I still live for you guys? I might just refresh just in case. Yeah, Mari can hear me. Can you hear Eleanor in the chat? Oh, we might have lost you, Eleanor. Just going to ask Eleanor to refresh. I can see myself, but not you. Okay, hopefully we can get Eleanor back on in a moment. But if you've got any questions for Eleanor, this is your chance to think about them and put them in the chat, and then we can ask Eleanor when she gets back. Can bombard her with all your great questions. And yeah, anything else that you want to know about her stash as well. All right, let me just...
I can see you. Oh, we're back.
I can hear you now.
Yeah, I could see you. Well, I couldn't see you the whole time, but I could hear some bits. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, I've told the chat to think of some questions for you as well whilst they were waiting. But I think you were just saying that you've got probably about 90% of your fabric in Stash Hub now.
Yes, and I think the rest of it is probably stuff I'm not going to keep. So yeah. I'll probably de-stash it at one of the events, so Surrey Sews socials or the swap November or something. I had a look earlier when I was looking through, you know, what I might talk to you about tonight, and I thought, oh, bet you somebody will ask about de-stashing. And I probably started my bundle for the swap in November.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's quite a good part of the Stash Hub process, where if you get out of fabric and you think, oh, I can't be bothered to add this to Stash Hub, then you definitely can't be bothered to sew it.
Yeah, and I think it's ones that I've had for a long time. I think if I've not made it in, I don't know, 7 years, am I going to use it now? It might be just right up somebody else's street, so I'll bring it along to one of the swaps.
So have you got some potential de-stash fabrics to share with us? I
find, well, just really it's probably plain fabrics. I've got quite a lot of plain jersey that I've had it from when the girls were wanting t-shirts and leggings, but when they were younger they wore a lot more brighter colours. Now, you know, 16 and 19, it's not all, they're not all wearing all the bright colours, but I realise I've got a lot of plain jersey, so it's mostly that. And I found this. Now it's like a wool blend suiting. I bought it to make a dress years ago. I've probably got about 4 meters of it, 3 meters, but I've never going to make the dress. So, and it's good fabric, like it's like what you would make like a kilt from or something. So there's probably a few like that. I know I've got a few sort of checkered suiting type things I thought of for dresses and trousers, but realistically I'm not going to make them.
Yeah.
unless I live till I'm like 200 or something. So,
And you stop buying fabric as well in the meantime.
well, that's the trouble. I think sewing and buying fabric are two separate hobbies for me. So, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure
Emma
I'll have
said
a
in
lot to destash by the time we get to the swap in November.
yeah, Emma said in the chat earlier as well that you're also very good at enabling other people to buy fabric.
Who said that?
Emma Redshaw.
Oh yes, Emma from Virtual Sewing Room. I was thinking about the other Emma from Studio 77. Yes, Emma knows. I get the chief enabler label on Virtual Sewing Room. I don't see it as enabling. It's more just advice and encouragement. Because people say, oh, I'm looking for something like this, or I saw this in a shop, or what pattern do you think would go with this? And I'm like, oh, what about this? And then they spend money and buy stuff. So I get the blame for a lot of that. But I mean, I'm not there twisting their arms.
That scenario sounds like you're offering genuinely helpful advice as well. Like
Yes.
they're saying, "Oh, what can I use?" It's not like, "Oh, hey, have you bought any fabric recently, Emma?"
Yeah,
you should probably go shopping now.
yeah. I don't force them or take them to the shop. Well, other than maybe Maria. We went to Goldtop Road together about a month ago, and now she's been like 4 times without me because she didn't realise before it was only like 15 minutes from her house.
Oh.
So, yeah, I may have enabled. I don't think she needed much enabling, to be honest, if you know Maria.
Oh, Eleanor is so good though. She did. Oh, okay. She talked me out of stuff. So
Oh, was it Maria?
Yeah.
The pink fabric. The man chased her around the shop. She kept looking at this pink, lovely shade of pink linen-y fabric that she thought she might make a skirt or trousers for the summer. And I'm like, you never wear pink. You'll never wear that. And she kept going back and looking at it, and the man sort of realised she liked it, and he kept trying to offer her a better price. And it was still quite expensive. And I'm like, so I went against, my normal enabling ways, and she didn't buy it.
This is what everyone needs, like a really honest sewing friend who can just be like, no, what are you thinking about with this? At least when you do enable, people know that you do actually believe in them using that fabric.
Yes, because I knew she just never would wear. I've never seen her wearing anything like that. And I'm like, you're never going to wear that. Put it back.
Oh, yeah. Maria says you give good, honest advice and you make the best shopping partner.
But
she is threatening to go back to Goldhawk Road maybe tomorrow. So you might have to cancel all your plans to Supervisor.
Oh, no, I'm volunteering tomorrow at the Lighthouse. I can't go. Darn. I don't need any more stuff.
Do you want to tell us a bit about the volunteering that you do and some of the charity sewing as well?
Oh, right. So, yeah, I volunteer at a place called the Lighthouse in Woking, and it's a charity that does lots of things for people in the community, mainly all people that are, having a rough time of it, for whatever reasons. And we do all sorts of things there, from Mel, that's on tonight. She cooks a community lunch every Wednesday and feeds about 100 people every week. On a Wednesday, we have people that give advice on housing. There's a food bank. There's a lot of mindfulness and well-being type groups to help, people get back on track and feel a bit better. We have a style studio, which I volunteer in on a Thursday, which is like a shop, a clothes shop, but everything's free. And the guests, the men and women come in and we get them kitted out if they're going for a job interview, or their situations maybe just left them with very little, and we get them kitted out with whatever they need. And then on a Tuesday, both Mel and I and another lady in the Surrey Sews group, Kathy, we run a sewing project for the Lighthouse, for a group of women that come for a few hours, and we teach them to sew. Some of them can sew already, so they're coming just to be creative, meet some like-minded people, forget about everything else that's going on in their life, and it's just really a nice positive environment. on Tuesday this week, 4 of the ladies all finished something at the same time. So it was very lively. They were all very excited. One lady nearly cried because it was her first proper garment that she'd made, and she'd had a lot of hiccups along the way. And at one point a few weeks ago, she was ready to chuck it in the bin. And then she sort of took a deep breath. She says, no, I'm not going to let it beat me. And she just kept going. And there was more hiccups along the way, but she went back and redid everything and persevered, and it turned out fantastic. And she definitely had a tear in her eye when she finished. So I think we all had a tear in our eye as well. You know, and just to see some of these ladies who are having a rough time of it, you know, forgetting about all that and doing something, you know, creative and doing it for themselves, and learning new skills as well, obviously. So
that
it's
must
very
be
good.
so rewarding.
It is very good. And Mel and Kathy that I do it with are fabulous. And we have a laugh, we have a lot of good chat, and the ladies make new friends. You know, you hear them getting to know each other, and they're all meeting up for a coffee the next day. So it's a really good project to be a part of.
Amazing. So did you and Mel originally meet each other through the Lighthouse?
No, Mel put an ask out on some group that I was in looking for donations when she did the refugee project. She used to do a sewing project with refugees in Guildford, her and Kathy, that do the Lighthouse with me now. And I dropped off a whole bunch of fabric at her house. She wasn't in. And then when we kept in touch, and then when she started the one at the Lighthouse, she got in touch, and then we just started doing that together. And
brilliant.
Got involved, and then I ended up doing the other thing, the style studio at the Lighthouse, and various other things. We do various events at the Lighthouse that we get involved in. So yeah, Mel roped me into a whole lot of stuff, which I'm happy to be part of.
Yeah, you're really generous with your time. I
Oh,
feel like
thank you.
your sort of like supportiveness but also honesty must be really helpful in the style studio as well, where people are trying on stuff and they're like, oh, what do you think? And probably a lot of people would just be like, yeah, it's great. You probably be like, no, we'll try something else. It's
Well,
all
no,
good.
we're very much in the in the style studio. We don't give them necessarily our opinions. It's more, how do you feel? How does it make you feel? Because a lot of the ladies don't have a lot of confidence for whatever their situation might be. So we try and get them to look at it, you know, from their own point of view. And we encourage them about, you know, things that maybe fit, and, you know, how we can make things work together and stuff like that. But we try and not be like, oh, that looks fabulous on you, if it doesn't, if you know what I mean. So we try and be honest, but make them sort of look at it from their point of view.
Yeah.
But it's
Well, I
very
think
rewarding.
you can usually tell if someone doesn't feel like comfortable wearing something,
Yes,
like even if they don't say that, if they're like,
yes,
oh, what do you think, you can be like,
yeah,
look, we'll just try something else, it's fine.
yeah. No,
um
it's a bit like that. We had a lady, I did an extra shift on Monday, and we had a lady in that she was very stressed because she had her child, some event for her child at the weekend, that she had to get a nice outfit, and it was to do with the church, so she wanted to be very smart and everything. She didn't have anything at home, and we got a whole load of dresses and jackets and shoes and everything. And you could tell, just what you said, she would come out the changing room with one and she was all like slumped, but then she would come out with another one and she was all, you know, like a supermodel walking down the floor. And she went away with one of the ones that obviously made her feel like a fabulous supermodel, and she looked terrific. And you know, we could tell her the other ones looked good on her, and they did, because she had a fabulous figure, but you could tell the ones that made her feel good about herself.
Amazing.
So yeah, it's very good, and everything's donated at the Lighthouse. Some of the ladies that are on here tonight have donated lovely outfits in the past for our guests. Yeah, and then the sewing project, we get lots of donations for that. Fabric Godmother donate a lot of fabric to us every year, so that's always lovely. And people in the community on the virtual sewing room, and people we get to know through different events, donate things. So we do, everything's donation based really. And everybody's very generous and kind with their supplies.
Brilliant. Well, Mel says, tell them about the prom event, which I think I mentioned in the
Oh,
description.
the prom event, Mel missed it this year, sadly. Well, in the Style Studio, we do a few events through the year. We do a thing called Coattober. You can probably guess what that is. All the guests can come in and get a winter coat in October. And then, was it April? Beginning of April, we did 3 prom events for girls in the local area to come and get a prom dress. All the dresses are donated. They're fabulous. We had, I think, over 100 dresses, and I think about 40 girls, 35, 36 girls went away with lovely dresses and sandals and handbags and all that kind of thing. So I was there as a stylist, but also advising on fit, because sometimes the young girls are determined to fit into a dress that maybe doesn't quite fit them for whatever reason. And then I also offer to alter some of them, which was a slightly bigger job than I imagined, but I did end up altering 5 dresses. Some of them had like 6 layers of skirts that I had to cut and overlock and hem and stuff like that. Some had straps that needed altered. Some had beading that was all falling off, so I put all that back on. And they've all got their dresses now, and their proms are all in a few weeks, and they're all quite happy. And it was
So
just
exciting.
nice to see them all, because, you know, prom dresses are expensive to buy, and, you know, some of these girls wouldn't have gone to their prom if we hadn't got them a dress. So it was nice just to see their little faces when they got their dress.
Yeah, and you tend to, like, a lot of people will buy a prom dress and then they'll only wear it once.
Yes,
So everything that's
exactly.
donated's probably not really been worn very much
It's
anyway.
not. Everything was pretty spotless, and, you know, other than, as I say, some beads coming off, you know, and there was a broken zip, and, you know, but they were all fairly easily fixable. They just took a bit of time because some of the skirts were a lot.
Wow, that's amazing. Right, shall we get on to talking a bit about Surrey Sews?
Oh, right, I'm not really sure how. I think I'll blame Mel for that one again. I'll just blame Mel for everything tonight. Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know what the first Surrey Sews event I came to was. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
The
the
swap.
very first event was one that Mel and I organised, which was a picnic in Woking
Yeah,
Park, which
I
I think
wasn't
was probably
there.
almost 2 years ago now.
No, I wasn't involved then. I think it was after that. I can't remember. Anyway, somehow I got involved with Surrey Sews through Mel, and then I met you, and then we ended up organising more socials and fabric swap, and I think we've got another picnic coming up, and we organise meetups at different things like the Stitch Festival, Threads. I was going to say next month, but it's next weekend.
Yeah, it's really soon.
We're meeting in the park, and I guess we'll meet in the place as well, whoever goes there. And we've got some more socials lined up. And then obviously the big event of the year is SewFizzTeaCated, the most exciting event of the year.
So do you want to tell us what SewFizzTeaCated is?
Sure. SewFizzTeaCated, last year was our first one. Again, I don't have the best memory for stuff like this, I admit. I'm not quite sure how we sort of came up with it. We wanted to come up with a casual, fun, sort of sewing themed event that wasn't going to be too expensive, that didn't involve, you know, a lot of travel, a lot of overnight, a lot of, cost for people. So we came up with the afternoon tea, and it's in Woking, Saturday, 18th of October. It's in the afternoon, 2 till 5. It's right by the train station. There's lots of parking nearby, and it basically is sewing themed. So you'll get your afternoon tea, glass of fizz, you know, tea and coffee, all that kind of thing. And then we have a raffle, and we've lots of good prizes donated by lots of wonderful companies in the local you know, and wider sewing community. And we have a catwalk, which is optional. You don't have to make a new dress for it. Obviously, it's great if you do, but you don't have to. And everybody gets a goodie bag. You can meet lots of other sewists. We had a lot of ladies came last year on their own, and you know, they sat together and they met other people or recognised people they knew from Instagram or whatever. And it was just a really fun social event. One of the few events you can stroke people and it's not too weird, and say, oh, that's lovely fabric, where did you get that, and you know, blah blah blah. And all the money, you know, once we've paid for the food and whatnot, we use the surplus money to buy things for our sewing project. So last year we had enough money to buy 3 sewing machines and an overlocker. The project has grown quite a bit. We have a queue for the machines every time, so we need some more things this year. We're hoping to get some more machines and whatnot from the money we raised this year. And what else? We're also doing a challenge, just trying to remember everything.
Yeah.
We also, for the people that can't come, because there was a bit of FOMO last year from people in the wider community that, you know, just physically couldn't get there. So we did an Instagram challenge where you had to make something you could take or wear to an afternoon tea. And people posted it also on Instagram. We had prizes for that we sent out to people. So it was just a really good, fun event. And the tickets are only £35, so they're not too expensive.
Yeah, I can see in the chat that Emma Redshaw's just booked their ticket.
Yes,
My
I was
anniversary.
wondering, she hadn't bought one yet.
Yeah, Eleanor's keeping an eye on you, everyone. So if you've said you're going to go and
Yes,
you haven't got a ticket yet, Eleanor knows.
I know, because I'm the one that does the ticketing software, so I can see, and I did think that Emma one's not bought a ticket yet. So yeah, that's good. Because there's not many left now. That's less than 30 now if Emma's bought one.
What was your favourite thing about last year's event? Let's see if it's the same as Mel's and Angie's.
Oh gosh, it's really hard. I almost feel it's a bit like your wedding day. It goes in a blur. You do, you know, you plan for like months and months, and then it's like whoosh, and it's over, and you're kicking your shoes off. You're like tired, your feet are sore, and you're like, oh my goodness, it just was a blur. I think my favourite thing. Oh, let me think. Mel's sausage rolls.
That's fair, that's fair.
She'll be, oh, typical you food. The catwalk, probably.
It's such a good atmosphere, isn't it?
It was just so, and you were brave, you went first. So that was very good. I think I was second. No, that was really good. Because everybody really got into the spirit of it and did silly things, and it was just fun and just nice to see all the different styles and all the different colours and patterns, and everybody just looked so proud of what they'd made and happy, and it was just really a nice positive experience for people.
Let's see Mel's favourite thing. For me, it was seeing people who arrived on their own, making new friends and chatting and having fun.
Yeah, that was really nice as well, because we had people even emailing saying, can I come on my own? We're like, of course. And we tended, a lot of the ladies sort of that came on their own sat at one big table, so they all quickly started, because again, we all had something in common, whether it was, you know, oh, that's a lovely fabric, I've seen that at the Stitch Festival, or oh, is that a Liberty fabric? And there was always something to break the ice and talk about, because we all sew and make clothes and things.
Yeah, definitely. One of my favourite things, which I think is going to seem really random, but there was like quite a large group of people that arrived early, and I could see them out the window, and I knew that they were for SewFizzTeaCated because of what they were all wearing, because they all had such different outfits and amazing fabrics. And I was just like, yeah, these are sewing people. Like,
oh, you could tell.
We're going
It
to
was
have
all
to
the
tell them to come back
patterns.
later, but
You don't normally see so much colour and pattern, and big dresses and flowers and, you know, a lot more bold choices for outfits. So that was
definitely.
great. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also spoke to Tanya, who hosted the Welsh Frock Tales in Aberystwyth
Yes.
last month, and I don't know if you saw the video of everyone. They walked from the hotel down the street
Yes,
to the
I
venue
did.
together,
Yes.
and all the locals must have been like looking out the window, like, "Who are
Uh-huh.
these extravagant people?" It was
Yes, I know.
amazing.
Must have thought they were an ascot or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and I remember being there last year. I don't know if you were looking out when they first started appearing outside. We all got a bit scared. We're like, oh no, this is real.
There's a big queue
I
suddenly.
know. We're like, oh my god, all these people have these big expectations, and you always worry it's not going to be great. But everybody seemed to have fun, so that was the
Yeah,
main thing.
it would have been much scarier if nobody showed up.
Oh, I know. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? But everybody seemed to have a nice time, and we raised lots of money, and people got lots of good prizes and whatnot. So I think, I'm not
It was
blowing our own
excellent.
trumpet, but people seem to have a good time. So
Well, some of the prizes last year were like so good that probably
yeah.
the value of the one prize was more than the £35 ticket.
Oh, some of them were for sure. I remember the lady that won the green machine from the trimming shop. I handed it to her, and she didn't know what it was or what it was for. And I was tempted, I'll just have it myself. I know what it's for.
I hope she's really into bag making now and
Well,
like adding.
she wasn't. She had no clue.
Yeah.
I explained to her about it, and I think I got Emma to talk to her from Studio 77 or somebody that knew about bag making, but she just didn't do any bag making, and I thought, oh, can I have it back?
Well, it weighs a ton, that thing as well. And I said to her,
Yes.
hope you don't have to get the train home. And she was like, oh, I do. I was like, well, good
Oh,
luck.
I know. I think she had a friend with her because she had a stick or something. And I thought, you can't carry this. So I think our friend was going to carry it, but I hope she's made good use of it.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
Right, let us know in the chat if you've got any questions for Eleanor about her sewing or her stash or SewFizzTeaCated. We did have a question earlier from Mel saying, what's your most precious fabric in your stash?
I don't know I've got a precious fabric. There's nothing I'm like frightened to cut into.
Are
But
you quite like decisive when it comes to projects? If you think, okay, I've got a pattern and a fabric pairing, let's just get on with it.
yes, I think the scariest I've ever been at cutting into fabric was when my daughter did Highland dancing, and it wasn't her kilt, but they move up levels in Highland dancing, and she moved up to the top level, and she had to get this particular skirt. It was like a big gathered tartan skirt, and I sent away for the tartan, and it was $75 a metre, which is about £60, and I had 3 meters of it, and I remember having it out on the floor, sitting with my scissors, like I must have been a good few minutes before I got up the courage to cut it. And then
Well,
I
a few
just got on
minutes
with it.
is like nothing compared to how long some fabrics can sit about.
Yeah, so that was probably the scariest, but I don't think anything I've got at the moment I'm particularly scared to cut into. No. I think because I've got a lot, I don't get phased. If I, mess something up, I'll just make it into something else, or.
Yeah, because you had an incident with your SewFizz dress
Oh
last
my
year, didn't you?
God.
Should I not have mentioned it?
Oh my God, that's like the worst. You rarely make things for an occasion, but the one day that I was doing it, because I was tired the night before, and I wanted to let the dress hang so the hem was level the next morning, and I was tired, and I thought, I'll just leave it, do it in the morning, it'll take me 20 minutes. And I just had to overlock the hem and then stitch it, and the overlocker ate a chunk out the skirt, and it was right on the bum, and there was no way to fix it. So it got made into a blouse, and I wore a dress I already had. So I won't be leaving it to the last minute this year. I have fabric and a dress planned for this year. And Maria actually has some of my fabric, because I didn't buy enough when I was with her at Goldhawk Road. Then I decided the dress I was going to make, so Maria went back and got me more. So
it's all worked out very handily then, that it does happen to be
yes,
so close to her.
yes, very handy. So I'm planning to make the Sandeep dress from By Hand London, named after the lovely Sandeep that we know. But it takes a lot of fabric, 4.5 meters, because it's got like a double skirt. But I will be making it well in advance this year.
Yeah, well, Maria says she's going to bring your fabric on Friday, so can make an early start on it.
Yes, yes. I've got the toile almost done. So I'm not toiling the whole thing, just the bodice. It's too much fabric. But it looks to be coming along all right with an old bed sheet. And then I'll make the real thing well in advance this year.
Are you going to make any fitting adjustments from your
Yeah,
toile?
I think, yeah, it's looking okay. I usually have to make, well, if depending on what patterns I buy, I usually have to do some adjustments.
So Emma says, is it pink linen that you're going to be bringing, Eleanor? The cursed pink linen that she was forbidden.
No, I can actually show you the fabric because I have a bit. Hold on. Where is it? No. You can probably guess what colour it is, Yvette.
Well, I've had a spoiler in the chat from Maria, so I know.
Ah, it's not bright. It's not bright blue. It's got a dark blue background, but it's got all sorts of different coloured flowers on it, and it's like a silky satin fabric. It's very
That's going to be
flowy.
gorgeous. That's going to look so good on the catwalk.
It's I think it'll be really swishy because of the skirt, because it's like two circle skirts, one on top of the other, and one's shorter. So I think you need something that really swirls and swishes about. So Maria encouraged me to get this one at Goldtop Road, and then kindly went back and got more.
Brilliant. So what adjustments do you typically make? Have you got a set that you always do?
Well, it depends. I mean, most of the people that know me and know what I sew. For a lot of patterns, I use a Australian company called Sinclair Patterns because they do a regular, a petite, and a tall fit for height. And I don't typically have to adjust her tall patterns. And she has a lot of patterns, mainly stretch patterns, but she does have some woven. But you know, I can make her dresses and her trousers and her tops, and I don't have to change anything if I do the tall. But if I buy other pattern companies, other than one or two others, I usually have to lengthen them, particularly the bodice. I usually have to move bust darts. I sometimes have to move the armhole down a bit. Not always. Usually the bust dart's the main thing. And the length. I don't have particularly long arms, so I don't often have to adjust that. But usually it's mainly the bodice length and then the skirt. And I am a pattern repeater. So, and Mel will know this, and some of the other ladies that are on. I have certain patterns that I make a lot of, and I change things like the neckline, the sleeve, the skirt, obviously different fabrics, because once you've done some adjustments and you know it fits, it's quite easy to just use the same bodice and change the other stuff. And if you want a quite quick make.
Yeah. And patterns can look really different, like the same pattern, if you use different fabrics.
Yeah. So my most made, Mel knows what my most made dress is, the Frida by Sew Girl. I think I've made 13, maybe 14, 13, something like that. Fiona, the owns Sew Girl, asked me recently how many I had made, and she thinks I'm the record holder for that pattern, and I think it's either 13 or 14. Wow. I've made it in a blouse as well. I've shortened it and made it into a blouse. But as I say, I changed the neck, I do the sleeves different. I've made it in cotton, corduroy, viscose, all sorts of different fabrics. And I just chop and change, you know, the length of the tiers on the skirt. I make more puffy sleeves. I make shorter sleeves. I do a tie at the front, no tie. But once the bodice fits, the other stuff's quite easy to chop and change. And as I say,
Yeah.
I don't always have patience to try a new pattern. I just want a quick new dress so I can whip it up in probably about 2 and a bit hours. So
Yeah, that's the good thing about kind of growing your sewing skills. It means that you can like figure out techniques for doing like different looks, but then you don't have to
yeah,
like repeat all the work you have to do on the fitting every time.
yeah, So I tend to do that quite a lot. And then there's another pattern, a Sinclair pattern called Joanne. It's a wrap, well, it's a faux wrap dress. It doesn't open. And I've probably made about 10 of those. But again, different. In fact, I've made it in stretch velvet, I've made it in cotton jersey, different things. I've even made versions for my daughters in like velvets for Christmas. And again, it's just one of those ones, it fits me perfectly and it's just quick and easy. Because you don't always want to spend a whole day trying some new pattern out that you have to twirl, and sometimes I like just a quick, easy make.
Yeah, for sure. Do you have quite a large wardrobe full of clothes then?
Yes, I just take my wardrobe round as well. I put bags up, big container things up in the attic with winter stuff, bring out the summer stuff. I like the summer wardrobe more because it's more, I think it's more colourful, your clothes in the
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah,
More
and I think like
patterns and
there's just like
everything.
less to think about as well if you don't have to like layer it up with so many different
Yes,
layers to keep warm. You can just be like, right, pick this nice dress, that's it, my outfit's
yes.
done.
And you know, I like dresses more than separates. I do have some trousers and skirts, but I do like dresses more because you don't have to think about matching, and you can just throw it on and you're ready to go out the door.
Especially if you've got a very like distinctive fabric, it's just much easier,
Yes.
isn't
Sorry, teenager, forgot that I
it?
was on here.
Well, yeah, we've just got a couple of minutes left, and then you
All
can
right, okay.
you do.
I'm trying to think if there's anything. Did make some notes earlier, but I think we've probably covered everything.
Well,
Yeah,
Mel says, "What's your?"
Mel can remind me if I've not talked about everything I should have talked about.
Yeah, Mel can remind you, and while she's thinking if there's anything that you missed, you can answer her last question, which is, "What's your favourite sewing snack?"
Oh, geez. Let me think. What have I had recently?
Mel's ginger cake.
Oh, well, yeah. I only ever eat that at the socials. Um, I often have a little gummy bears. I've often got, I can see a half bag up there on the shelf. I often have some gummy bears in my sewing room for a little bit of sugar. Or a hobnob.
Hobnob's a great biscuit.
Yeah. But Mel's one thing, if anybody is thinking about coming to a Surrey Sews social, come for the cake.
Definitely.
Mel's cakes are the best cakes in the world.
Yeah, Maria says Mel's brownies are the best, which I
Oh, they
can
are.
agree with. Doug was
And the
very sad that I didn't bring him home
oh,
any last time, even though he's supposed to be on a diet.
no. And the ginger cake and the lemon cake, if all our cakes are just to die for. And at the SewFizzTeaCated event, um, the Mel's sausage rolls are and scones are just to die.
Yeah,
Never
brilliant.
mind the sewing. I'm just there for the cakes.
Yeah. If you don't want to talk to anyone else, that's fine. Just stuff your mouth with cakes the whole time, and
Yeah.
then you're still good.
Although it's SewFizzTeaCated last year, we got to the end and everybody had left and we were sitting down to have a cup of tea. And I said, you know what, I've not had a scone yet. Because I'd been so busy doing all, making sure everybody was okay. And we all sort of, I don't think we actually ate much, the people that were organising, till the end. So I guess that's a sign it was a good event.
Definitely. All right. Well, we haven't got any comments from Mel. She says, I think you've covered everything.
Oh,
I'm
good.
loving the praise. So Mel's getting big headed now. So we need to wrap it up. Cool. So all of the info should be in the description underneath this video. So we've got links to Eleanor on Instagram, Surrey Sews on Instagram, tickets for SewFizzTeaCated if you haven't got yours yet, because yeah, there's 30 or potentially less tickets left now.
Yep.
So if you want to come, that's 18th of October is SewFizzTeaCated. And I remember when I spoke to Jenny on the virtual sewing room in conversation with, she was
Yes.
asking me, am I a morning person or a night owl? And I was like, no, office hours only. So an afternoon
Oh,
tea event is
oh
great.
yes. Uh-huh. No,
Sociable
it
hours.
suited a lot of people because they didn't have to stay overnight and pay for a hotel and all. Although this year we do have some ladies coming from up north that are travelling down and staying overnight this year because they don't want to miss out.
Amazing. It's the
Um,
FOMO, isn't it?
yes,
That's what happens in
Judy,
the sewing
yeah,
community.
Judy and Mandy and Sam and Lucy, that are all virtual sewing room people. They're all coming down on the train and staying
That's going to be
over.
so good.
Very
Yeah, so
exciting.
speaking of virtual sewing room regulars, I'm going to be speaking with Una next week
Oh, cool.
on Stash Chat. So hopefully everyone can tune in to
Oh,
that. So I'll be
yes.
back next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Talking to Una.
Oh,
I really
cool.
enjoyed Una's video that she did for the Mental Health Week.
Yes.
So go and find that. I think her channel's called So Vintage Glam. If you want to get
Yes.
to know her a bit better before the chat and come up with some extra good questions to ask
Oh,
her.
yeah. I'll do that. Yeah, it's actually a bit of Una's de-stash fabric I was making my dress for SewFizzTeaCated with last year, and then it got eaten. But I still made the blouse in it.
You
But
managed to rescue it.
I did rescue it. I felt bad because she really liked it, but she admitted she just wouldn't make something with it. And I said, well, I love it. And then, of course, this overlooker ate the fabric. But I did save it and turn it into a blouse.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of sewing is problem solving, but it is just really frustrating when it's right near the end and
Yeah.
it's a problem that should have just never happened.
I know. And it's because you're tired or in a rush. Usually you're doing it late at night or you're in a hurry, and you never seem to have quite enough time a lot of the time.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, if you're planning on making a dress for an event, get started early. That's the top tip of the episode.
Yes. Oh, and one other thing, Mel and I are doing a SewFizzTeaCated sew along on the virtual sewing room sometime probably in September. So everybody should look out for that.
Yeah, that'll be a good way to get to know people who are coming to the event
Yes.
beforehand as well.
Yep. And if people want to ask me and Mel questions about, the charity or projects or fundraising or anything like that, they can talk to us about that.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us, Eleanor. It was
Thank
really
you.
interesting to talk to you and really looking forward
Thanks.
to seeing you at Threads. So if anyone's going to be at
Oh,
Threads
yes.
really soon, in I think saying 10 days. So yeah, come say hi to
Next
us if you're
Friday,
at
Saturday.
Threads.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll
And
see you there.
yes, see you all soon. Right.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks a
everyone.
bit.
Bye.
Thanks. Bye.